everyone, it's me, Samuroid Legends. Nah, I'm just kidding, it's me, Speed Force Legends. Ah ha ha. Anyway, well, we're 7 episodes in on The Flash Season 7, and I know that I've said, unless if my thoughts were to change drastically, I'd not make another video on this season until graphic novel number 3 is done. But apparently this season is getting a lot of hate, and I'm going to explain a better reason why I'm loving this season so much. Now, this is just my opinion. I'm not going to force you to like it, but I just hope you understand why I do. You see, if you've all been watching me since the beginning of my channel, you'll know that I was not a huge fan of Season 6. Mainly for a lot of reasons. The first season being the 2 graphic novel approach, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and all that. It was just so disappointing that that was the season that was what it was. Like, no Red Death like they set up for, ended off early, the way Evo was executed, etc. You know the rest. But Season 7 is now what Season 6 should have been. And here's why. Well, for starters, it actually made Eva a good villain, made her more intimidating, and also feels more like a threat rather than, oh, it's just someone trapped in a mirror all day. Like, you need sense of urgency. And not only that, but this Force Quest storyline, I'm a huge fan of from the comics. And this was something I've wanted to see for such a long time. So as a comic book fan, this is very important to me. And so far, the execution is going perfect. Psyche is very well made as a villain. Still nowhere near as good as Thawne, Zoom, Savitar, or Bloodwork, but he is a great villain for sure. And also, Fuerza in the comics is the Flash's equivalent to Doomsday, since the Strength Force gives its users so much strength, like it's too much for them to handle, but at the same time they're such huge threats. Like, the same thing happened to Trickster, mainly when he got it, rather than Fuerza herself. But Fuerza is the Strength Force, so yeah. Not only that, but you've seen her crush an antimatter bomb, and she's way scarier here than in the comics. I'm really liking the whole Still Force stuff. I mean, yeah, Steadfast may be kind of a mediocre villain, but there's still a lot they can do with him, so I'm not going to say, oh, he's worse than Cicada or whatever. And yeah, I'm loving this Force Quest storyline a lot. If you can't really tell, that's why I'm loving it. Like, Fear Me, episode 5, the one with Psyche, is one of the best Flash episodes ever. And mainly also because I loved the Flash War stuff too. Well, I'll talk more of Flash War later, but I really loved that nightmare scene. Sure, we've had them before, but I love nightmare scenes. They never get old for me. Plus, we kind of barely get them. It's only usually like once a season. But either way, it's still fun to see. I liked seeing Savitar come back and Thawne come back. And I'm also excited for graphic novel number 4 with Godspeed. And it makes sense why they decided to do him instead of Zoom as the villain, because 1, we've had Zoom before, and 2, Season 6 was already setting up Godspeed as the villain. And also, Impulse coming back. I didn't even get to talk about that yet. I mean, he's showing up, and he was one of my favorite characters in the comics. So, like I said, this is what Season 6 should have been, only with a different story and such, and different villains and all that. And especially this healed my soul after, well, you've seen Why the Flash Feels Dead to Me. That's the name of the video I made. Check that one out if you want to see me get angry about the show. But yeah, even just this first episode, because of how good it was, it healed my soul after that, and all the garbage Arrowverse content that we got, mainly the woke trash like Batwoman. And I know I've not made a video of me talking about how bad Batwoman is. That's why I decided to make an April Fool's joke about that. Because of how much I hate it. Anyway, I'm not going to be talking about Batwoman. I'm going to be talking about The Flash. And not only that, but this season even reminds me of what good came out of Season 6. And that's why I'm not as negative as I used to be with it. I mean, I like it way more than I used to. Mainly because I now understand why so many of you think it's one of the best seasons. Because Bloodwork is one of the best villains, and I actually thought the first half was better than Season 3, mainly because consistency and such, but then, well, for the second half, although Season 7 proves it's better than I remember it, but just how they screwed up by not finishing it, that's why it wouldn't have been as good as I know it is now. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have problems, because, well, it does for sure. But, anyway. And before this season, who thought that The Flash would be a trilogy of disappointment? Season 4 opened my eyes to the flaws of the show. Season 5 left me a feeling of emptiness for the direction it was heading. And Season 6 left me a spark of anger towards the show in ways that not even this season can fix. Although, what this season has done, it stabbed all the things that pissed me off about these last 3 seasons, and actually feels more serious this time. Mainly, Episode 5 is a good example of that. And I know a lot of you care so much about character development. Don't worry, I do too. And that's one of the reasons why the first 3 seasons worked so well. But even in seasons 4, 5, 6, and this one, there's still a lot of that too. And overall, this season should not get as much hate as it is. You guys just don't understand that it only messed up because of the release date and how it was forced to finish season 6. But that's more of season 6 problem than this. Either way, I just hope you understand that I care about the execution. And that's also why villains like the Thinker, Cicada, and Eva all felt wasted. That's because of the execution. While this, some details you guys may care more about than I do, but I care more about the execution, and so far this does not disappoint. That's all that matters to me, and especially of something I loved from the comic books. That's why I think this is one of the best seasons. Okay? I'm not forcing you to like this, but I just hope you understand why I like it. Even with Impulse showing up, it makes it even better. I hope Inertia does in like season 8 or something, because I think Impulse is only coming 1 episode. And you all know that I'm a huge fan of Reverse Flash, Zoom, and Savitar, and I can't wait for them all to show up. And Zoom in the comics is really good, but on the show he's so much better. And I loved the whole conflict of him going to the 25th century and then making Barry and Wally fight each other so that way they can break time. Which, I know that's not the case on the show, but hey, they wanted to do something new, and so far, this does not disappoint for me. And I'm not saying that being disappointing means it's the worst, because, well, I must admit, I originally thought that season 6 was the worst season because of how disappointing it was. But then I looked back on that and realized that's only because of the second half, not the first half. While season 5 was worse, but it didn't disappoint me as much. It was better than how I thought it was going to be. While this, it just redeemed it for me. Same with Superman and Lois. And I'm not just talking about this show, I'm talking about the entire Arrowverse. So with all that being said, season 7 is one of the better seasons, or at least why it's better than some people make it out to be, because it redeemed season 6 with most of its problems. The villains are insane. The storyline is great. And not only that, but it's one of the best stories in the comics. Force Quest is just as good as Flashpoint, Elseworlds, and other stuff like that. So, let me know your thoughts on my opinion. I hope I changed your mind, or at least gave you a better understanding why I like it. I didn't talk much about the recent episode 7, because that was mediocre for me. Focused more on Frost's storyline. Although, I'm talking about all the good, like the first 6 episodes. Not saying that Chilblain was a bad villain or anything, although it just should have focused more on Barry. Well, whatever, it's not like I'm going to criticize the season for one episode. Plus, wasn't bad. It was just mediocre for me. And I'll admit that episode 2 is definitely a great episode. May not love it as much as most people, but I do think it was a great episode, and one of the reasons why this season is so good. I actually really liked episode 3, unlike most people. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. So, if you're one of the people who absolutely hate this season, please don't hate on me. I just hope you know why this is important to me as a comic book fan, as a superhero fan, and most especially a Flash fan. And if you've been watching any of my previous Flash videos, then you know where season 6 fails and this succeeds. I mean, same with seasons 4 and 5, but mostly season 6. I know that some people might have that criticism for season 3 because of Flashpoint, but come on. It at least stuck to the source material, and it gave consequences later on. Well, anyway, that's a topic for a different video. But if you subscribe to this channel, like this video, that would be great. And let me know what videos you want me to do next. I have plans to do some for Star Wars and Marvel, AVP. That stands for Alien vs. Predator, if you're not familiar with it. And Terminator and other stuff like that. Videos I've not done in a while. And for some reason I've not had any ideas for Dragon Ball videos. Although if you are a Dragon Ball fan, you got any ideas, then that would be great.